Thank you so much. That was amazing. And you know what? I think our next speaker is also going to leave you equally, if not more, inspired. Pat Chang has been speaking since he was 17 years old, and he's been in a wheelchair since he was in his teens as well. Over the years, he has impacted millions of people with his talks, with who he is as a person, with the book he's written. And in fact, he wrote a book, The First Dating Guide for Guys in a Wheelchair, because of course he's a guy in a wheelchair. So he's going to talk to us just now as they bring him up. I think they're going to go ahead and bring him up onto the stage now. Of course, they have to be careful while they're doing it. While they're doing that, I'm just going to say, after a series of failed relationships, he's told me, Pat realized that the dating results do not depend on physical condition. He's going to share with us his approach on how to create the perfect companion and how to apply the same approach to a brilliant life. Who here would like to have a brilliant life? Clap your hands, put your hands together for Pat Chang.
I love making grand entrances, and try not to eat too much because lifting me will be much harder. It's really great to be here, and what an amazing community. And thank you, Christian. What you said about Jason really touched me because I'm in a wheelchair, he's in a wheelchair. I can identify with what he has been through, but he's a role model. Thank you, Christian. I see most of you are not in wheelchairs, so I'm going to start by inviting you into the mind and the body of a guy in a wheelchair, a quad. Imagine you're at a happening club. The night is young, the music is loud, everybody's happy. You're at a bar. You want to order a drink, but the bartender can't hear you because you're 143 cm tall, not quite 4 feet 9 inches. So you get someone to order the drink for you. Now you have your drink in one hand. How would you push yourself? Maybe something like this will help. Check this out, it's an actual product. You don't want to use that. So you see a girl you like, you approach her, the conversation is awkward because your eye level is her chest level. You don't mean to stare, but I can't help it. The conversation is awkward also because she's towering over you. She can't hear you because the music is loud and your lung capacity is limited. Somehow she's still interested in you. She said, hey, come to my place. But it's 11 p.m. All the accessible buses have gone. How would you get to her place? Dating in a wheelchair seemed impossible. And when I was dating, when I was single, it was beyond impossible. But it was through the trials and tribulations that I discovered something powerful and profound. It gave me a lot more than just wonderful dates. It transformed my life. And I feel it's going to do the same for yours. How did I end up in a wheelchair? I was born healthy. Actually, I was more than healthy. I was born a champion. When I was 1 year old, I won a healthy baby contest. The competition was fierce. I won because I had one more tooth than a second place baby. So some win by a hair, I won by a tooth. I was a gifted student and a natural athlete. When I ran for student body president, I was the only candidate. because my friends knew they couldn't beat me, so I won by default. I also swam every day for hours, and I did thousands of sit-ups and push-ups each day to improve my endurance. I also have loving parents who gave me everything I needed. I'm not talking about my mother's stare. Everything I needed to become successful. My life was brilliant, and I knew I was destined for greatness. I will go to Stanford, I will win an Olympic gold medal, and I will have an abundant, prosperous life. In 1987, March, everything changed. It was a rainy day. I was eager to go to swim practice because I knew a lot of my friends wouldn't show. Then I could spend more time with the coach. We're practicing a new kind of starting dive. And when I dove into the swimming pool, everything blacked out for a split second. By the time I opened my eyes, I was floating in the pool, face down. I could not move my arms or legs. Fortunately, my brother was there. He pulled me to the shallow end of the pool, where the coach turned me over so I could breathe and told me to hold steady until the ambulance arrived. Minutes later, ambulance arrived. Paramedics, they picked me up, put me on a gurney into the ambulance. That was the last time I swam. I had what's called a spinal cord injury. And as a teenager, I didn't even know what a spinal cord was. I didn't think it was serious or permanent. I thought being in a hospital was the perfect chance for me to ask my father to get me a new bicycle. A few days after the accident, my father came into my hospital room. And he said to me, "Pat, the doctor just told me you would never walk again." Before I could react to this earth-shattering news, my father continued. He said, "When you're in a wheelchair, you may not be able to do as much as other people. But as long as you can do one thing as well as anyone, your life will be brilliant and fulfilling." I knew my father was right. So I put everything I had into becoming the best student possible. After 4 months of rehab, I entered high school. I graduated a year early. I was admitted into Stanford, my school of choice. At Stanford, I graduated top of my class, and I was admitted to the PhD program in economics when I was 19 years old. What I had done was so remarkable that magazines and newspapers came to interview me. There were books written about me and my family, followed by a TV series about my life. Life, indeed, was brilliant and fulfilling. But it wasn't. I was happy on the outside, motivating others. But inside, I was angry. I was angry because my perfect life was taken from me. I was sad because I didn't think I could ever have love. I was not worthy. Why would anyone want to date a guy in a wheelchair? I kept telling myself, it's okay. I'm a genius. I don't need a girlfriend. It didn't work. I felt more sad and more frustrated. I was watching my friends, their social lives, blossoming. They were holding hands, hugging, kissing, dating. I had none of that. Then one day, I told myself, I will pour everything into becoming the best dater possible. Now, I didn't tell my parents that. So I started with books, something I knew really well, lots of them. But dating books are not for guys in wheelchairs. They're for able-bodied people. So how could I walk like an alpha male when I couldn't really stand? But it doesn't matter. If women want to date rock star alpha male, that is the image that I'm going to project somehow. I got help from Tiffany. Elegant gifts in iconic blue boxes work very well. Yes, for the ladies out there. And then there's Wolfgang Puck. I enlisted him so it could well my dates with creative dishes and world-class service. And then my secret weapon, I actually got myself a dating coach so I could figure out what to do in those awkward, intimate moments. I improved quickly. In fact, I was becoming so good that my friends asked me to bring over girls that they want to meet to our table. And I knew I mastered dating when girls were eager to climb on top of me. Life was good, exciting, and I have to say, my boys and I got everything we wanted. But it didn't last. After a month or two or three, the girls that were eagerly climbing on top of me, they left. So I was back to dating again. Then the breakup would follow. I was in the endless cycle of dating and breaking up. I couldn't understand why. And then I had an epiphany, an aha moment. And get ready for this. Size does matter. I'm getting a lot of stares. Yes, it does. It matters a lot. Because my girlfriends were telling me, Pat, it's so big, I don't even need to stroke it. We're all adults here. We can talk about this. It's fine. Pat, it's so big, it hurts. Yes, I'm talking about the size of my ego. I thought I was such an awesome date. The only imperfection I had was my wheelchair. Is that really true? It was my wife who pointed out something to me. It was the day before our wedding. It was the day before our wedding. And I was writing our wedding speech. I needed inspiration. I went at her and I asked her, why did you decide to marry me? I knew the answer. It was A, your charm, B, your accomplishments, C, your good looks, and D, all of the above. Antonia's answer was E, none of the above. None. She said, when I first met you, I thought you were annoying. That can't be. If you didn't like me, why did you keep feeding me? It was the only way to stop you from talking. So when I was dating, the person that I cared the most about was myself. I wanted to feel that I could do something great, that I was charming. I like to feel charming, I like to feel accomplished, I like to feel that I'm respected. I wanted love, I wanted companionship, I wanted pleasure of the senses. I want. I was so focused on the I that I have forgotten about the we. Now, this insight led me to what I would call a different way of approaching dating. Instead of focusing on the I will become a great companion. By being a great companion, I will have a great companion. And I came up with a 3-step process so that I will have the perfect date. Instead of casting a wide net, it didn't matter how big the net is. Because if you don't know that you're egomaniac, you'll go through rounds of dating and breakups. So the 3 steps that will get you exactly what you want is this. First, write down 3 qualities you want in your date. It can be anything. It can be generous. It can be kind. It can be humorous. It can even be beautiful. And then from the 3 qualities, you pick 1. The next step, step number 2, pick a place where you can provide the quality that you want in your date to others. Okay, this is a mouthful, so let me repeat that. The quality that you want in your date, pick a place where you can provide to others that quality. And step number 3 is pick a place where you can commit yourself to practice giving that great quality to others consistently. So we're going to go and use my list of 3 qualities as an example. So this is my list. Caring, cheerful, and hot. It's an honest list, and that's not maybe in the right order. So let's pick caring. It's not as controversial. So for me, when I think about caring, where can I provide the quality of caring to others? And I will give you an obvious one. Later I'll show you some not so obvious ones. So the obvious place to provide caring to others is the hospital. So I decided to commit myself to volunteer at the hospital consistently 1 day a week on Wednesday night. And I'm going to show you a short clip from this organization. I thought we could give something back, something the 2 of us could do together.
That was the motivation.
I was in a diving accident when my parents went through a really hard time to drive to see me at the hospital. If there was a Ronald McDonald House then, I think it would make it a lot easier.
When we were at the house, we would invite these parents out, make them talk and laugh, to take their mind off from whatever situation their child was in, just to make someone laugh. It's not easy to do that.
They're under a lot of stress. If my child will be okay tomorrow, it becomes difficult to see the brighter side of things.
Being positive is really important.
At the house, the lights are always on and it's always open.
We're very blessed to have this facility that only takes 20 steps to your sick child rather than a 45 minutes bus ride.
It may just be a few minutes saved. This is ICU. And I think every minute counts. So it's not so obvious, but thank you. Our retirement homes, and the surprise is actually lunch with your parents. You can really provide caring for them. So people ask me, so what you mean is by going to a hospital to volunteer and to provide a quality of caring, I will meet my dream mate, date? Yes, that's correct. You see, companionship is actually a skill. And the more you practice it, the better you become. You don't know when or where you'll meet that special person. But when you do meet that person, you'll be ready because you're a great companion. And that person will recognize you because she is also a great companion. And that is how it works. And the amazing thing about this principle is it can actually be applied to everything. So what happened, I learned this because in 2015, I got a call from my mom. My father fell. He knocked his head, had a traumatic brain injury. He needed surgery right away. The next day, my mom called me at 4 o'clock. Where can you go to get a second opinion at 4 p.m. in the afternoon? It just so happened that Antonia and I were volunteering at the hospital, and we shared with the manager this news. It just so happened that his auntie is a top radiologist, and he forwarded the CT scans to her. And a medical student we met at the hospital through volunteering was studying under a radiologist, so he also sent the CT scan to his professor. In less than 2 hours, we had 2 second opinions confirming the diagnosis. My father had his procedure the next day. He recovered 100% from traumatic brain injury. This is when Antonia and we started to reflect on this. What happened to us, because we had given health by going to the hospital and volunteering, we actually received health. So your health is not just eating the right food, exercising, reduce stress, sleep well. It is what you do. If you're willing to provide health, you will receive health. And maybe the best way to improve your health is to volunteer and give health. Another opportunity to see this principle of give what you want happened when I received an email from a total stranger. I thought it was spam. His name is Larry. He was asking me to help him with his job search. I almost deleted that email, but I thought, hey, let's see if the principle of giving what you want works. So I wrote back, Larry, I will help you with your job search, provided that you help others with their job search. So Larry and I started to meet once a week over video. He was in the United States, I was in Singapore. And we'd go over things like resume, interviewing techniques, and his accent. And at the end of each session, I would ask Larry, hey, have you been helping people getting jobs? And initially he would tell me, Pat, I don't even have a job. How can I help others with their job search? And I reminded him, you don't actually need to have a job to help someone. You can review their resume. You can do a mock interview. There's a lot you can do. Then he would come back and tell me, Pat, all my friends have jobs. I don't know how to help them. And I remind him, Larry, last time I checked, the unemployment rate was not 0. So there are people out there that you can help. Gradually, he started to embrace helping others. He would help people fill out resumes. And I even recommended that he go to his school's career center. Whatever needed done, just do it there. A few weeks later, I was traveling, and I asked Larry to meet over the phone. And he called me. He was excited. He said, Pat, I had an interview. The interviewer was so interested that a 40-minute interview became an hour and 15 minutes. I was really happy for him, and I asked, did you help someone with the job search? He said, oh yeah, I helped this girl fill out her job application. A couple more weeks later, Larry called me, this time, multiple job interviews, and he got a job offer from one of the premier tech companies in the world. This experience changed my perspective, and it changed Larry's. He said he sent 3,000 email messages, 20 people replied, and he spoke with one person. That person was me. Now, if you rely solely on sending out messages, I would think you need to send maybe 1,000, 3,000, 5,000 more to get a job offer. So his odds would be 1 out of 3,000, 1 out of 5,000, 1 out of 10,000. It's almost like buying lottery tickets. But from embracing that you give what you want by helping others with their job search, Larry literally created his own luck. And when you can create your own luck, you don't need to be lucky. And the next story that I want to share is about joy. Antonia and I, we wanted to start a family. When we got married, we immediately went to the family fertility clinic. I was really afraid to go because I wasn't sure what the doctor would say. What if he says, Pat, because of your condition, you cannot have a family? How would I face my wife? Thankfully, we both checked out healthy, ready to go. I was so happy that I decided to rent an apartment close to the clinic. I figured 6 months, we got this. 6 months went by, I needed to extend the lease. Another 6 months went by, I had to extend. This time I extended for a year. In 2 years, after 8 rounds of IUI, 4 rounds of IVF, we had no results. The doctor said we had this condition called unexplained infertility. It was modern medicine's way of saying, we cannot help you. We don't know how. Thankfully, I had a conversation with my spiritual teacher, and he asked me, Pat, what does fatherhood mean to you? I didn't understand. He said, when I said fatherhood, what do you see? Immediately, a picture of my yet-to-be-born children splashing, playing in a pool with my Antonia and me showed up. My spiritual teacher said, do what fathers do, and you'll be a father. It was at this moment that I knew that I would swim. I was afraid of swimming. I had a diving accident. I cannot move most of my body. Antonia assured me that I would not drown in the kiddie pool, and she recruited some friends to help. So I want to show you a picture and a short video.
Hey, go outside. Antonia.
So after a few minutes in the pool, I asked my friends to lower me, to submerge me, so I could feel what it's like to swim. When they submerged me, as soon as the water covered my ears, the whole world went silent. I couldn't hear, except for this eerie, pulsating sound of the pool. I started to panic. I thought I couldn't breathe. I was thrashing my arms. I thought I was going to drown. And then I saw a light and a face. It was Antonia. She looked at me in the eyes, and gave me a reassuring smile. The fear went away. I was able to hold my breath, and after a few seconds, I came up. I was swimming. From that day on, I swim every week, and every time I swim, I see the picture of my children swimming, splashing in the pool with Antonia and me, and I felt the joy. And 9 months later, Antonia was pregnant. Now we have a baby boy, and I look forward to teaching him to swim. It is very easy to feel that what we do and what we think don't matter. The world is so huge, and there's so many challenges. There's accident, injury, unemployment, unexplained infertility. What can one person do? But what I learned is the world is not random. What we do and what we think shape our reality. This is cause and effect. By giving companionship, I got companionship. By giving health, my family and I received health. By giving others help with their job search, Larry received help with his. By being a father, I became a father. Whatever is it that you want, give and you will receive. If you want joy, bring joy to yourself and others. If you want kindness, be kind to yourself and others. If you want love, love yourself and others. You have all been given the precious gift of life, and you all have the capacity to make it brilliant and fulfilling. May you rise in love, fulfill your dreams, and live head over wheels. Thank you very much. I would like to have 1 minute to introduce my wife and our son. And you guys are amazing.